I don't like to separate both of them. I like to see fashion as fashion, whether you are modest or not. And I think it's a global language. We all live on this planet, and everyone is affected by everyone. So I think it's much better to look at it as a one whole family rather than dividing it. So I think it's pretty much the same as the other.
Hi Rawdah, welcome to İmannoor. We're so happy to have you here with us today. I'll start with our first question, if okay with you. You're one of the leading faces of modest fashion in world fashion. You're an important figure in creating a trend in the world. Can we get your thoughts on this trend, please?
Well, thank you for having me, İmannoor. The leading trend on modest fashion, I think it's actually quite similar to the regular fashion, if I can say. It's very well connected, and I believe fashion is a global thing. So if there is one thing that is dominating the fashion spectrum, then it will be the same thing for modest fashion. It looks different because it's going to be layering and it's going to be longer and more coverage. But I think it's very similar. When the fashion landscape is very urban or very streetwear, you see the same thing coming in fashion as well, in modest fashion. So I think I don't like to separate both of them. I like to see fashion as fashion, whether you are modest or not. And I think it's a global language. We all live on this planet, and everyone is affected by everyone. So I think it's much better to look at it as a one whole family rather than dividing it. So I think it's pretty much the same as the other.
Yes, okay. Where do you position modest fashion in the world fashion stage?
I think it's the leading fashion. Well, it's where all the money is, by the way. I think Europe is drying up. So most brands, if they're not considering the modest people, I think the fashion houses are losing out a lot, because if you're designing only for one woman, then you're losing out. You rather design for everyone, and everyone is mostly like European brands. They're all looking towards Asia, and that's where the majority of the Modest Fashion Week resides. So I think it's definitely the young fashion aspect of it, because the other ones are so very well established and all that, but all the young energy and the people that are creating and where all the buzz is happening is extremely innovative. The landscape is changing constantly. So I definitely think modest fashion is the future, if you're paying attention.
Where do you see Istanbul in world fashion?
Definitely, I think it's leading when it comes to modest fashion, because that's what I'm interested in. And growing up, like the first bloggers that were wearing hijab, they've always been ladies in Istanbul. And I think they've always defined the modern young fashion girls, especially for us modest girls. So I think it's always been the leading one. It's always been one of the first people to do it. And I think also being very close, being in Europe and being very close to Europe, you also have sort of the same story. So when you see the way you guys express your fashion, is recognizable for the ones living in the West. So I think it's always been like, Turkey has always been the gap between the East and the West. And I think that definitely also is their place when it comes to fashion.
What are your favorite trends in modest fashion?
Yeah, my favorite trends in modest fashion has always been layering. I really love adding things on top of each other. For instance, right now I'm wearing a shirt, and on top of it I'm wearing a split kimono, and I'm wearing jeans, stressed jeans. So I think it's very much, that's always my favorite trend.
You have a capsule collection with İmannoor. What inspired you when designing this collection?
What inspired me? I think I wanted to create something that was true to both of us, and I wanted our collaboration to be in respect of both of our heritage. So I wanted it to be very İmannoor and at the same time very Rawdah, and I am African. So the inspiration came from my home country, Somalia, in East Africa. So, you know, we have all these triangles, and then we have the octopus, and we have the Somali national flower. And then we have the colors and the patterns of İmannoor together. So I think it's a very blended, beautiful collection.
What would you say about the colors and patterns you chose for the collection then?
I think for me it was very daring, because usually I'm a bit scared when it comes to patterns and colors, because it can go so wrong. But I think working with İmannoor, where the designers are so well established in it and they have done it so successively, I felt I was in good hands, and it was a learning point for me also to just be like, okay, well, because they know what they're doing, I can more relax into it and I can have them guide me. I think it's one of those things that I was very nervous about when it comes to coloring. I tend to, because I live in Norway, I live in Scandinavia, and that's where I grew up, I tend to stick with the neutral colors. And if I go for color, I don't add patterns. It's very risky for me. So definitely I think I have become more brave. And now it's just like I wear everything and I rock it.
How do you evaluate the steps İmannoor has taken towards becoming a global brand in the fashion world as a luxury brand?
I value it as a very important task and a very risky one because we don't have many of that. So for İmannoor to be one of the first leading, I think it's very brave. I admire that, and it's something that we all need. So I think it's very. I love to be in the presence of people who are daring and people who take a chance and believe in themselves and go out for it. So I think the steps have been very much. Just brave, really, and it's been something that the market has been in need of it for so long, and also the fact that it's luxury is also. Constantly you buy these hijabs and you buy these kimonos and buy these abayas, and they don't last more than a season. So I think for somebody who's also concerned about sustainability, to be able to find something luxury that is everlasting is incredibly, incredibly important. I think it's also very good to have fashion, but also it needs to stick with the values of the human life. So we shouldn't pollute the earth, and I think it's a very brave and very good thing.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when İmannoor is mentioned?
Oh, because I have such a personal relation with the brand, so that when I think of İmannoor, I think of love because I love the people who work here. But if I think of it as a brand, and I don't think about my friends in the brand, I think I would think of it as colors and pattern, and I would think of it as a luxurious resort life, on a boat or just relaxing, or you going shopping and you throw something that is very effortless but super chic and color. That's what I think of.
On February 1st, we will be celebrating Hijab Day in İmannoor. On this occasion, what is your message to all young girls who dress modest and want to wear hijab?
My message would be one of support and love, and I hope that my career and my life have given them a sense of purpose, and I've given them an opportunity to believe in themselves and to also think, if Rawdah can do it, so can I. That has always been very important for me for the next generation. And I also hope that they take this space to come out and be true to who they are. And if they want to wear modest, I think they should do it proudly. And I'm very excited about that.
Thank you so much for all the answers.
Absolutely. Yay.